Greetings and welcome to 1.0 release of Sengoku Dynasty. I hope you're enjoying your playthrough of this game, and hope that this beginning guide is going to help you out in your start. Things have changed a bit, and let's get into what the game is like, get some beginner tips and tricks out there, and get our start working the best as we can. Let's get a new game going. And I would like to recommend you to go to custom, as I think that you will enjoy having fast building on as a resource delivery. This allows you to build something just rapid clicking to be good to go. This is a rather nice thing. You can change the amount of combat required, and you can make the game a little more chill if you like, and by all means consider their options up here, as it does help you just get a game that works the way you want it. I also do love the idea of having a minimum and maximum change. If I want to skip a season, I like having a minimum of 1 day. That means that we can just go 1 day through a season and say, okay, I'm good, let's move on and progress. And maximum of 5, just in case there's a lot I want to get done. By all means, keep the settings as default if you prefer, but do and enjoy the game the way you like it. But I do find that these help out a lot as we go through in the long haul of the game. But in your first game, first thing that I would recommend you do, in all honesty, is just set the game up with just saying fast resource delivery, fast building, and try it out and experiment and allow yourself to lose, allow yourself to win, just go with it. Let's start. Alright, we'll have the ability to design our character. By all means, take your time with this. I haven't made a female character yet, so we're going to make ourselves a female character. Let's have green eyes, why not? And we'll try face number 3. As far as hair is concerned, we can either do the fancy bow with the tails, or we'll do the tails or no hair. Let's go with this. We'll go with standard. And then I'm going to stick around with dark hair, finalize, and we'll go with the name they give us. After the intro scene, we are stuck here on a beach. We have managed to survive, barely, with our lives, although we are at full health. And speaking of health, if you look in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see a green bar with a little chicken leg, a drumstick icon for food, and a lightning icon for stamina, and a heart icon for our health. And they are green for food, yellow for stamina, and red for health. And you have to eat to get your food up, but you also can drink water to get your food up, at least at this time. Now, your villagers will need food and water, while food and water for you are just kind of working in the same way. You can get a whole lot of different items here. I recommend you pick all these things up, and you might have noticed I was picking up the stones as I was going. Just holding down button and grabbing things. Ooh, look at that, free fish. So we'll go out of here and start heading in. Now, to gather items in this game, we are going to need to build things. We're going to need to handcraft certain items and then build buildings with these items. I can hold down E on keyboard and mouse style. If you're using a controller, check the key combo. It'll be right in front of you as you walk up to a bush. And if you just hold it down, you can just walk up to these things and continually grab them as you go. And this helps out quite a bit. It does the exact same thing with rocks. So as I'm running around, I can hold down E, and now I am gathering up all of these stones. As long as they fall into my crosshairs well enough, I can just gather them as we go. Now, why do I need to gather up all these stones, and why am I telling you to just pick up a whole bunch of stones before we go into this game? Alright, when we start out, we don't have anything, and we're going to need to handcraft our first tools, and those first tools are going to get us our start. So as I look at my character, I have nothing in my hands. I will right click, and then I can build in my handcrafting menu. There's a few different items you can do. We're going to make a lot of use of these stone axes. It automatically goes in inventory slot 1, which is handy, or sorry, I'm sorry, hotbar slot 1, which is handy, and we can make use of it to chop down trees. We do want to make sure we find all of the items, random items around here, and oh look, a seashell. Seashells are not what they used to be, by the way. You can still make good money on them if you've seen my videos from before, but it's not quite the way it was before. Before we leave here, again, there's still more sticks, and we are going to go through so many sticks, y'all. Just be ready. When we cut down a tree, we're just going to attack it. Left mouse button for me, I'm just going to hold it down, and I can chop it all the way to its end. As we go through, we get sticks and feathers before it falls. We can no longer chop it to get sticks. Now it's either adds it and get bark, or just pick it up and have yourself a log. Now, with the axe out, I can't handcraft. I can press any hotbar slot button to get out of that, or I can just press my button again, and then I can open up my handcrafting. Let's make ourselves a hammer, just so we're ready to go. Speaking of hotbar slots, Always put your items in slots that make sense to you, and then you're going to remember which one is in which spot. I try to remember to have my bow weaponry in 4 and my melee in 5 so that I'm consistent and I don't make mistakes along the way, but you know, sometimes it happens. And you can use your hotbar slots to drop items, which is super handy. We're going to head over this way to find Akko, and that's going to welcome us to the valley. Things are different now. We can't just run in here and just go straight to building. What's going to happen is we're going to go in, we're going to get Akko, and we're going to start noticing that we have places to liberate. We are here to free the people. We are here to build the peasant kingdom. It is our destiny, if you will. And you'll notice that we have certain conditions. We got to build that bridge in Sasogi. We have to defeat a looter leader and 5 looters. There are a lot of looters up here, so when you think about going up here, it's not just going to be a small fight. It's going to be a fairly large fight, so we got to be ready for this. And as I go through here, I am just gathering and gathering and gathering stuff. It is going to pay off later as we go by having all of these things ahead of time. Then we don't have to run around and get them all later. Although I will tell you, even with me gathering all of the things in this corridor, I'm going to have to gather more and more as we go. So get as much as you feel like you are ready to tolerate before we get ourselves out of here, and then we will be able to build up and rescue Akko. When we gather certain items, you're going to notice that you get unlocks of recipes. So when you gather a buildable resource or a constructible item the first time, you get an unlock for a basic technology or item that you can use to build with that resource. So since we just gathered grasses, we're now able to build a tent, and we're able to build the small storage container, the Tuara. Alrighty, with this we will have our resources, and now it's time to go talk to Akko, and time to get ourselves beginning in this game. When we go up to her, press E to talk, and now you can use the arrow keys to navigate, and then press E to select, or you can move your mouse cursor to select. Either way. I'm going to really go through the storyline quickly. I very much recommend that you take the time to read the storyline. And by the way, that oar right there, that oar is a good weapon right there. Look at that. We're ready to go. We'll be using that one extensively. Since we did all that gathering as we were coming in, we have already completed a large collection of this quest line. If you still have to chop down a tree, there it is. When you have your hammer out, we right click and we can go to any of these structures that we're going to build. When I click on basic structures, we're building a fire for her. We just have to place it by left clicking, and then you can press the mouse button quickly, since we turned on our fast build, to craft it. We'll talk to Akko again and continue the storyline. And now here we are. We're at a spot where we are about to begin and just move into the game proper. Our first order of business is to build a village. We don't just get to go anywhere we want anymore, so it's not the way it was before where you can just say, hey, I'm just going to run way over here and build my first village here, let's go. It is necessary for us to liberate these areas to gain our technologies. You'll see over here on the right that we're unlocking copper tools and copper weapons. If I go to this region over here, now you see that I have bronze tools and weapons. And down here, bronze weapons and armor. So it does progress, right? Like, we're going to progress through and get these. This is kind of the direction I want to go. And you notice that there's also items on the top where it says villager resources. This allows us to gain these resources with villagers working. I want premium conifer, so that's my goal right there. And iron ore, I want that technology. So I'm going to be aiming to go this way, and I think that that's going to be a good route for y'all. We will need plenty of followers. We will need lots of Dynasty reputation. We are going to need a lot to get there. And to get there, we first start everything out in Sasogi by helping them rebuild. So let's head up this trail and find Sasogi. As you get closer to Sasogi, you'll notice that you have a lot of grasses out here. You have a lot of bushes out here that you can harvest. And you have these things you can destroy. And they give you items as we go. They don't give us a lot, but they do give us things. And it also clears the area, which is nice. Hey, look, a free bamboo. When we come in here, Toshichi's our first person to talk to, just like it always was. And we want to start our quest line out by saying we were shipwrecked. And he's going to tell us all about this bell that they have that they want to rebuild. And this starts us out. You can harvest all of these different spots here. All of these different buildings can be torn down, and you'll get resources for it. The nice thing, too, is that you're going to be getting experience the entire time you do this. So let's dig in on a couple of those key items. So, we just got a level. I'm pressing tab. I'm going to legend. If I go to craftsman, Now here, I can use my points that I just earned to gain skills, which improve how I do things. The first one I'm going to recommend is here is Skillful Lumberjack. It's going to make the stamina cost of using axes and adze decrease. That's what we want, because we're about to use this axe for a long while. At the start of the game, we're going to be using the axe extensively. We have to chop down trees, we have to chop these buildings down. We have a long way to go when it comes down to it for using the axe. I've also discovered that using our pickaxe is becoming quite a thing as well. Alrighty, as we go, when you tear these down, getting planks and getting charcoal and getting sticks is a big deal. The planks are going to help us build our first buildings, our houses, our storage, all of the things that we need. And you'll notice that I'm kind of passively gathering up these grasses as I go. So as my character's stamina is recharging, I'm trying to pick up grass as I go. It's going to take you some time to tear this whole village down. If you want to do it all at once because it's like, oh, I must just tear this thing down, then go for it. Notice the axe broke. I just right click, I build a new axe. I'm set to go again, and it goes right back into hotbar slot 1. That's why I was recommending you pick up all those sticks and stones, because you are going to be breaking down lots of buildings. The buildings give you the things you want. These trees that are burned down are only going to give you charcoal and sticks. It's not going to give you much, but they will probably be in your way. And if you want, you can also, right here, as we have it, we have another point. You could take another point here to decrease the stamina cost even more, which allows you to continue chopping more and go. We're going to need logs to build our structures as we go, and we're going to need to get a few things so we can get ourselves rolling through this early part, and grasses are going to be a huge part of our build. There's one more resource that we need that's just sitting around waiting for us to grab it, so let's go get that real quick, and then we'll start advancing ourselves in our progression here. You can tear down these items too, as you see them, the boards, the barrels, and the troughs. These all things can all be broken down, and you get planks periodically and you get sticks periodically. The thing that we want here is we want these straw stacks, these haystacks. It's going to give us a large collection of resources, and that's handy. These ones feel like they're way out of the place. Let's get them. Keep in mind you can also tear down the fencing, and sometimes you get bamboo, sometimes you get sticks. But you take your time and do this at your leisure, and don't feel that you have to tear down everything all at once. I know I kind of feel like I have to, I just want it done. But if we want to get the most out of our day, then let's move forward. Tear down one more structure here, so that we can have enough to build that first house, because our quest line said place the bell tower, and then place a house. And as I'm recovering my stamina, we'll just walk around and gather more grass. Alright, we'll take out our hammer, right click, and go to village structures. And our very first village structure is the bell tower. When we click on it, it's going to give us a silhouette in green to say we can build here. Red says you can't. There's something blocking your pathway. In this case, it's that burned down tree. In this case, it's this copper node or copper deposit. I'm going to recommend that we make a mistake. I'm going to put my bell tower right over here. I'm going to totally mess this up. I'm just going to put it over here for fun. And let's say that I make it, and I just noticed I need more logs. Let's chop this tree down right here, and let's get rid of it. By the way, as you chop down these trees, when you strike them down, if you leave the stump behind, it will grow back in time. So, if you want them to come back, by all means leave the stump. Later on, you'll be able to get some shovels, which will allow you to dig them up. Let's finish that thing out. Now, I'm noticing, I'm like, oh wait, hold up. This bell tower, here, I'll show you the thing. Hold down T, and notice that there's a large circle around it. This blue circle represents the area you can build with this. Now, I just put this thing over here, and I did it to make a mistake, and I'm noticing I don't like where this is, because I can't build all the way under the shoreline on this side, and that was silly. What was I thinking? So, if I want to reposition this bell, I can just pick it up, as I have it now. And let's say I want to be able to build on that beach up here. If I want room to build on that beach, I need it back a ways. So then let's put it right about here. Now notice, I didn't have to do any crazy maneuvers to replace it. It's just here now. We're good to go. This is new from the update, and it's really handy. Perfect. We have a bell. We are good to go. We need to build a house. So another thing I do want to make note of for y'all. You'll notice that when I placed that thing, I didn't really care where I put it, and I just kind of put it down and went on. You can move any building to put down. Just by looking at the foundation and holding T, you can rebuild, or you can move any structure you want, anytime you want. So by all means, don't worry when you place down a structure. Put it wherever it works for you right now. Move it later. It's good to go. You don't have to rebuild it. You don't have to tear it down. It's a very nice feature of this game. It's very forgiving for placement and decoration sense. So by all means, just go with the flow. I'm going to gather a lot of logs so that we're good to go here. And then we'll build up our first structure. And if I can't hold it, I can just turn around, take out my hammer, look for my silhouette, and begin. And then I'll rapidly spam my left click button so I can build. Your first structures are going to look like makeshift buildings. You can always change it later. So as we gain the tech to be able to have coniferous boards on the side to make our village look more legit, we can do that later on as we go. And you may notice grass, sticks, logs, and stones. Oh, look, broke a hammer. So we'll go up here, we'll click on it, and now I have my hammer back. There we go. You'll be going through a lot of logs today. You'll be going through a lot of sticks today. There we go. Before we're done, because we're not done, we go to furniture. House furniture, beds, and a sleeping mat. You can always add more beds to your houses, and I very much recommend you do, because now I have 2 beds. I can stay here, and Akko can stay here. We now have a house, and I don't have to build a whole second house just for us to be set to go. While we're at it, let's build our storage, because that's the next major item to do. It is really important that your storage is in a convenient location for you to get in and out of when you fast travel, and also when you're building. I can place it right here. What I'm noticing though is that there's a lot of sticks here that I may want to harvest before I do so, just so I have the sticks because I'm going to use them to build. So I'm going to do that first and then place it. Alright, with my hammer out, I right click, we're going to buildings and we're going to storage buildings, and then we're going to place our general storage down in this area. I'm going to need a lot of logs. I chopped down 1 tree next to me, and now let's chop down more. In case you've played Medieval Dynasty or games like that, you don't have to worry about logs falling on your head. It's totally safe to just let everything fall and crash on you. It doesn't do anything, so don't worry about it. You can just let trees fall and they can land right on your head. It's all good. That is a bird nest. We're going to want that in time. We'll come back to this. The crow's nest is handy as we need feathers to build our arrows, and we'll also make use of the eggs in our early quest line. Alright, it's time to finish a structure again. It can help to go up inside of it to finish things out, since this allows you access to every one of the different spots. Can you change these walls, by the way? You can't change it yet. We have to unlock it or purchase it, and we can change the type, but we would just have a window. I'm going to say that I'm not too worried about it. We just want to get these structures up. Oh, another hammer down. You're going to go through a lot of your intro tools, that's for sure. Perfect. Now we have the storage done. What we're going to do with this is we're just going to drop all of our things in here except for those that we need to take with us to do some kind of business out and about. I'm going to keep the seashells on me because I'm going to use those to sell. And I don't need the extra torch. I will carry some sticks and stones because I will be building more sticks. I will need the sticks for axes, hammers, and so on. So let's go gather those resources I left sitting on the ground over here and then go from there. The eggs that I left. We can tear the nest down to get feathers, which we will use as well. We did just get some unlocks, and I think getting a forager's hut up. Let's try to get as much as we can done early here as we go. Again, there's a large collection of sticks here. It'd be really nice if we could just kind of get this stuff going and be all set to go. The forager hut allows us to assign a worker who can gather things. It's a great source of grass, which is a thing I don't want to keep gathering up in this game. It's also a great source of mushrooms, which is another thing I don't really like gathering. So I'm essentially trying to get my workers set in jobs that I don't want to do, or things that help us as a village continue and progress. Speaking of which, if we go to N, as you gain more population, as we assign our population, we're going to have more needs. Your first need is food. And we will need to feed Akko and ourselves. We take care of ourselves just by running around and eating whatever things we decide to eat that we can eat. And early on, that's going to be gobo for me, fish as you can get it. But where villagers are going to have needs that increase in time, and we're going to have water, we're going to have maintenance, we're going to have all kinds of different needs that progress as we go. And they're progressing based upon what you can gain access to easily. So let's get things going here. I'm going to chop down a number of trees, and you'll see me at the end of me chopping down a whole bunch of trees. And I'll show you the next major tip, which is what makes it easy to build our structures in this village now that we're here. And by all means, don't worry about chopping things down to get firewood. I'm going to happen to take that one down just because I want that tree out of the way. But getting firewood is much easier once we have the woodworking station. Alright, you might notice that I do not have planks in my inventory, and I certainly don't have 200 sticks in my inventory currently. I put everything in the storage. The reason that we want that general storage up and running as quick as possible is it makes it easier for us to do our building. Our character always has just access to the things that are in the general storage in our village in our bell range in our village at all times. So let's go through and build this thing. Since we have access to that storage, everything in there is just here for us to use. Let's get it started. I'm going to choose to make a change out here. Why not? Let's put a ramp over here just for fun, so that there's another entrance into this thing. You'll notice that we're going through tons of grasses here, and it does help for us to have extra resources. Here we're going to make one major change. Finish up our structures, and our structures kind of progress based upon technology. These early ones are going to be easy to get at. Oh look, I need more grass. Let's right click, and let's go to furniture, and let's go to production building furniture, and let's go to this building again. Now I can build another forger's workspace, and that means that I now have 2 workstations in one building. That is going to pay off over time for us because we have built a building that can now accommodate 2 jobs, and as I need grasses and I need other things, I don't have to build a second building to get the same thing I need, which is 1 more worker. We'll gather some more logs, and then we'll finish this up and we'll build our crafting, our workshop, because the workshop is the next most important thing. Then we can go turn in some quest lines and progress and get Akko in here. With extra grasses in hand, let's finish this structure out so we're done. Now, we have 1 more workstation to go, we are set. From here, it is really worthwhile to consider building another house in time, but it is also really worthwhile to have the workshop done, as we will be using this to build our early weapons of war and also tools as we go. I want to have it next to the general storage so that I can easily run out of my general storage and get at it if I wanted to. I also think it makes sense. They would tend to be near each other, so I'm just going for a little bit of that. We'll place it, and we'll make sure things are clear around it, and then we'll probably need a ton more logs as per usual, and then we'll go get Akko. There we go, we're getting a lot of levels here, and you'll notice that we are gaining a lot of unlocks as we go too. We still need bamboo and we need more grasses, so at this point, and if you look, we're at evening, which means we're past when we could have produced goods for the day. So let's go and get some more grasses, and since we need to gather a large collection of things, let's go finish that up and get Akko and get her in her house. I chose not to get Akko before the end of the day because I didn't think I'd be able to finish my structures before work assignments would happen. And I don't want to have gotten her and left her with no job and no food, because it will lead her to being a little less happy if she doesn't get the food she needs. I figured I'd just let it go, and the first day we're just constructing our base out, getting ourselves started. Now what's fun is that over time you're going to end up having to deal with bandit raids in our village, and that will be really entertaining and will make it worthwhile for us to really plan out how we have things. We're going to go forward in the storyline and tell him that we did just build our house, and he's going to give us 3 quest lines to follow. By all means, please take the time to read this in your playthrough. I'm rushing through it because I just want to show you the quick tips as we go. We can tear down these buildings at our leisure, and then we can come back through. We're going to get some grasses and bamboo as we come back through, and we'll also open up another quest line as we come back in. And again, holding down E to get our resources is a really handy way to go. And I could always use more stones because I have gone through, I believe, 7 axes already at this time. Alright, here we go. And we let her know that we can bring her in, and we'll press N, and you can bring her into here. You can go tab, and then you can go to Dynasty, go to Population. And we need a home for us. Let's get her first, though. Let's assign a home. We'll go to Player Village and the small house. The Forager's hut did have a bed in it, which counts. Now she has a job, or now she has a home, she needs a job, we'll assign her. And let's get her in the Forager Station. As I said before, I don't like having to gather grasses, so I'm just going to choose to have her gather it. Now I know that mushrooms can be useful for potions later on, or items later on, but I might just have her gather Gobo for now if I can't get at other things. It's totally up to you what you do, and please notice there are certain icons here, like spring is for the green leaf. That means this can only be gathered in spring. Anything with a green leaf, anything with a yellow sun is only gathered in summer, and then fall for the leaves here, or autumn for the orange-red leaves. Copper ore, you could have her gather, you can have her gather whatever you think you need. I tend to need a lot of stone at the start, but I'll find it on my own. I would like it if she could gather feathers, but that's gonna be what it is. We could have her gather garlic, which would allow us to not have to go get garlic later. It's totally up to you. And garlic counts as an herb for making items. When you see here where it says mother loads, that means that we can gain access to this as long as it's in the region. So I'm going to have her just gather gobo for now. Let's see what we can get away with. It's only 24 gobo, it's 24 food. I don't think that's worth the time. So instead, we're going to remove it, and we're just going to max her out on grass and be done with it. That way I don't have to think about getting more grass, and I can get straw from grass as well. With a hammer out, you can also destroy structures by right-clicking and then going to the demolish. So if you don't want to leave the campfire on the beach, there you go. You can get rid of it. And then right-click again to get rid of the demolish mode. Let's get back to our village now that we have her assigned. Oh, speaking of which, let's go to population, and let's make sure that we can have a house too. Akko and I have been traveling together for a long time. We'll live together. In my other storyline, I'm going to have Akko be our love interest, because why not? We've been together, we've been through it all. I think it makes sense for that. And one of my viewers did suggest that idea in that live stream, and I love the idea. I'm going to gather a little more grasses as we go back and then call it even. At this point, it's time to take a step into our village, and then we're going to veer off just a little bit, because, again, I need bamboo. Oh, actually, first, let's go here. We can accomplish two things at once if we go into here to talk to the Impure first. And then we can follow this quest line and wrap it up. So he says something about needing help, and then we can go through and talk about his story. Now, by all means, read through it in detail. It is good to get an idea of who the characters are around you, and it's the storyline, right? Again, I'm only rushing through it because I just want to show you the game as we go. We're going to go up through those trees there, and then we're going to progress in our storyline by talking to Chime. But first, I want to talk to our friend here, who is the villager from time before. Say that a man is dying and he ate some questionable mushrooms, and we want to get him a chance to live. And she says we need charcoal. Well, guess what? I have charcoal. I have been gathering tons of charcoal, and there we go. From here, we're gonna go ahead and head up this hill, and we're gonna talk to Chime. Now, I think a great way we could have done this is you can gather up some seashells before you come up here if you happen to be by the shoreline. And then you can sell some things to her. And I'm going to say you need assistance, right? Alright, and she wants us to make an offering at a temple. And by the way, that temple, and making that offering, oh look, an antidote. She can't afford to buy this from me, but she can buy charcoal. And I have a lot of charcoal. I'll think I'll be okay. I'll choose to sell that just so I have it. I want to get to a point where I can afford more things. That soybean bag's a big deal, and so is the rest of this. She has a lot of chrysanthemum, which can heal you if you want to use this as a quick, easy way to get healing. And the amount of cost that you're going to pay, I can buy 20 of these for 12 coin. Let's just have them on hand, just in case. One seashell goes for 250. Not bad, but not great. A stone axe goes for 15, and hey, we've been gathering a lot of random things. You could easily just sell your stone axes here and make a quick bit of cash. This is where we'll get our bamboo before we head back in and wrap up our construction. And also where we progress ourselves forward and get ourselves in a spot where we can start causing trouble. In our quest line here, we're supposed to find a nest with some eggs, which we did already before, you may note. But you can always find more, and I know I need feathers, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to see how many more I can find on the way back. The eggs are worthwhile because your character can eat them. When you press E, you can gather up the eggs, and then hold down E to gather up the nest itself. And if there are more nests in the area, we can kind of weave through here to find them and gather some more feathers and some more eggs. Alrighty, with our items in hand, and we are ready to turn in a quest from before, we can go into weapons and we can do some damage here. Let's go into weapons and let's build ourselves a short bow. Oh, we need rope. Hold on. I'll right click to go back. And let's go into others. And there we go, rope. I do need a bit of rope for this, so let's get ourselves 3. We get our first, we built our first rope, so we get bonus experience. And now we'll go to weapons again, and I'm going to build 2 short bows. They break pretty quick, so I would recommend you definitely have them going. Now we did sell a little bit, so I can unlock these coins, or I can unlock this by paying coin, and I just hold down F to do that. I'll build 2 stacks. Because we want to get, 30. That's going to do us just fine. Perfect. When we click and drag this, it can go in that inventory slot. I like to have my ranged weapon in a certain slot. And then, from here, we can access our storages. We also can finish building our stuff. There we go. Now we're set. This building is complete. And in the general storage, again, remember, you can just drop everything into your general storage and you're good to go. I'm going to want to keep some of these here. I don't need the antidote. In order to cook the eggs, you can either make a campfire like you did before, or you can just go right into here and you can cook your eggs. And I'll drag it over. I'll press F to craft more. We'll drag it over, press E, and then we'll craft a bunch of cooked eggs. Cooked eggs are handy for your character to eat, but your villagers don't get much out of it. With our eggs cooked up, I'm going to now recommend that we take ourselves a moment and we build ourselves a proper house. A standard house is going to take more resources, so we're going to need to chop down a lot more trees. And it's also going to allow us 4 villagers rather than the 2 that we could from the smaller house. So at this point, let's chop down a bunch of trees and let's get ourselves in a spot where we can build this up. Now at this point, we finally need our planks. So this is going to really dig into our collection that we got from our buildings, right? But it also means we have less needs for sticks, so I can finally start progressing forward in our tech. And also not continually gather bushes every second of the day, right? So we're getting further ahead, we're gaining our technology, we are progressing down our line of getting closer and closer to being ready to just take things over. More planks means more buildings. I can tear these down. With a lot of grass in hand, I'm going to head back into here and I'm going to finish this one up. Notice we already have 2 beds and we can finish these up. But also go right click, go to furniture, beds, and add ourselves another sleeping mat. And look at all the weight of the craftsman we've got. I have some serious points to spend. And I haven't chosen to just yet, just because I wanted to get all this started. We now have 4 beds, which means 4 more people can move into our village, and we are still not done yet. When you want to eat, you just click on the thing you want to eat, press E, and you'll notice that it tells us how much a villager gains from it, which is 6, but for me, it's 10. So for me, eggs are the way to go. Keep these eggs on hand as well, because you can put those in the Anari Shrine to gain a bonus to speed, but more importantly, you can gain monk experience. And Way of the Monk experience is something you constantly have to add up and get more of as you go. And if this is a quick way to get it, then take advantage of that quick way to get it. Alright, we'll leave our stuff in our inventory, and now it's time to go cause a little trouble, because we can, right? We are now also at the point where we can put down a land plot for a farm, and that could be a handy thing to have out and about, since we can assign a villager to it, even though we don't have any bags to it. We'll have to do that as soon as possible. I want to get to the point where we have rice. That's the goal that I have, since that feeds our villagers the best. It is still the case that cooked rice is just the way to go. Let's go get some more villagers, though, because we're in a spot where we can almost expand ourselves into doing more. Not quite. This is the most important structure in our village. I cannot emphasize enough how much this is simply the most important structure in your village, because this gets you access to villagers gaining logs for you, and we are going to need this. So let's take the time to get this thing built. It is worth it. There we go. As we finish this thing up, I want to let you know that the reason we want this is twofold. Number one, let's make sure we put our extra structure in here by going to Woodcutter's Hut and then going to Carpenter Station. Get 2 of them up here right away. You're going to want the 2 stations. The reason we want this is that this makes us firewood, and it makes it at a very efficient rate. This also gets us debarked logs, which we can just click on and drag over, and now we get bark. You will use bark for certain structures. Might as well debark them, and then we can make planks. And as we go forward in this game, we will need to make planks to build projects, so we're going to want this thing ready to go. And the major reason here is because we're going to be expanding our village in this region, and if we want to do that, you're going to need lots of logs. You might have noticed how much time you spent just chopping down trees. If you're tired of chopping down trees, much like I am at this point in the game, I want to get to a point where I'm not the one doing it. So I'm going to make myself some stone axes. We're going to make, let's make 4 of them. We don't need to have to think about this later. We'll put them in our general storage, and I'm just going to drop them in. There we go. And we'll drop these logs in here. We should be good. That as well. When we assign a worker, our next villager is now going to be able to be a woodworker who's going to gather logs for us. So if we go to jobs, we can click on our carpentry station. We don't have a worker yet, and we can only assign this particular job here. Can't assign anything yet because I don't have a person, but the tool slot will be logs using this stone axe. Alright, when we find a person, we'll be able to do this. So let's start doing that. Alrighty, we have a quest to turn in. We'll go for that. And then we're going to gather seashells by the seashore. And then we're going to take those seashells into the Injiro Rebels village, and we're going to sell them for a quick bit of cash to get us a start. Alrighty, we'll turn in our potion here, and then we can talk to the Impure Matsumaru. And then say he looks more alive, right? Cool. And now we just gained more experience, and we're further ahead in our tech as we want. Alright, let's go down by the seashore and let's gather things. There are seashells over there you can gather. I'm not going to stress about it. I just want to get a start on things and I want to gather as I go. I'm holding down E so that any seashells that I get to on the shoreline are automatically picked up. These aren't going to sell for a huge amount of cash. Oh, check it out. Free loot. Ooh, these copper knives will sell for quite a bit, and the oil is still worthwhile. We might as well have it. It calls it an intermediate resource, which means that it's useful for doing something. It can be useful for heating. I would suggest you don't allow them to do that, which, by the way, when we press N and we go to priorities, you can assign the things that people eat. It is my recommendation that you don't let them eat things you don't want them to waste on you. Like, I don't want them doing this. I want them cooked. They do better when they're cooked. I also don't want them eating all of these random raw ingredients just because I want this to be cooked before they take it so that it gives them more gain as food. For heating, I'm a huge fan of not letting them burn their clothes, and I only want them to burn firewood and charcoal. Charcoal pays off a lot more. When you get here, I do recommend make sure you uncheck sake, because you'll use sake for this later on. You'll have reasons to have sake, and I don't want them to just simply take it. I'd rather that I can assign them just to water, and you will not have trouble with water for them. I also don't want them using up my clay and straw, because I want those things around for me to use. You can decide what you want for straw or stone and chisel stone, but I find this to be a good setup. Alright, we'll gather more seashells, and then I'll see you at the next POI, point of interest. It started to rain, and it got me thinking. If we were to create a field, and if we were to cultivate it and begin planting it, this rain would count as watering that field. So as you build your things, consider the fact that rain from here can count as water for your field. So if you happen to build a field, and you are going to do the work yourself, remember that the rain does count as watering. We have some enemies coming up here, so let's do this. I'm going to definitely recommend to you that the bow is the way to go, since we have 3 opponents up here. They will be a lot to tangle with, and if you're not 100% confident in your... oh no, 2, because there's 1 inside there. If you're not 100% confident in your melee skills, then by all means, make sure you get these arrows out, and go for getting them. And by all means, the head... oh man, headshots do count, by the way. They do tend to give you a time to get caught up. Ooh, you're gonna knock me down. Well, tell you what, I also have an ore, so let's knock you down, buddy. We can block with our... whichever key you've set it for block. For me, it's left alt, which makes it entertaining to hold this button down. And it does take a small amount of health from us, but allows us to stop them. We can also take their weapon and loot them. Ooh, this was a mistake. Hold on. Here's what I want to do. Press N. Let's go to Legend. And we have Way of the Leader. I want to go down here, and I want to get this massive benefit to looting. Let's try it out. And let's go to Warrior, because we just got some perks here. I want the animal trophies first. I think that pays off in the end. You can also improve your block, and you can use other things here. Endurance is always the thing I go for. I don't want to run out of stamina when I'm going. Alrighty, let's see here. Ooh, look at that, a chisel, and some coins, and some water. This is a big deal. This counts as free money, essentially. You can sell this to any vendor. It's instantly 50 coins. That's pretty nice. I would say that bandits are a great way. Bandits and looters are a great way to start out in this game and make cash. We've rescued our first person, and he was on a trip of enlightenment. Interesting. Well, I'm sorry you got captured, but welcome and join us. Let's assign you a home, and we can have him live in the workshop. Why not? We'll go for it. You should be employed, though, buddy, and I know the job that I need you to do, because I want this to happen. You'll notice that it's here, he's assigned. There's no workload. I have to assign it, so I have to hold this down until we get to 100. 33 logs later, we're going to be pretty happy. There should be some loot here for us to take. That's not bad, but it's not great. We can deal with it. Let's continue on down the beach and find our next spot of getting into a little bit of trouble. We'll gather some more seashells on the way. Every once in a while you'll get a pearl, which counts as a luxury resource. I'd recommend you just keep them for now. It's not really worth selling them, but if you need the coins, hey, you do you. Oh, looters stuck in the environment. You may find this happens a bit for some of your enemies. And again, try to get those headshots if you can. But if we need to fight, here's a recommendation. Power attack first. And then with this one, a regular attack is a perfect follow through. There we go. Plenty of oil, which is pretty handy. It sells for good money, and later on it's worth it for other things. Huh. Interesting little makeshift structure. This is a new one for me. I haven't seen this one yet. He's got his own like makeshift hut. Nice bed though, dude. Wow. Oh, boo. You should add more coins with a cool structure like this. Alright, we'll gather up some more seashells and then let's go into the rebels' village. When we enter... Oh, dude, I say that and then I've got this boar right here that's trying to cause trouble with me. Now, it is stuck in the environment, which is super convenient for me. So I could just stand back and I could just arrow it. I could just arrow it. You are arrowed, friend. But I could also knock it out with the oar. Now that we've done that, we've gotten away of the warrior perk, and we can also skin it, and you'll notice that we get fur, fat, and meat. Handy things. It's starting to be the next day. Our character's probably tired, but you know what? We're going for it. So when we come into here, we took those points in the blessing to get better loot, and we're going to watch it pay off shortly. Some of these items you can loot. Here's one. Ooh, well, it's fine. It's something, darn it, it's something. It's better than we had. These rebels happen to be the good peoples. Let's trade with this person. Oh, look, he already has seashells. I bet he'd like more. There we go, we'll sell our seashells, and then check this out. We're selling 3 of those for 150 coins. Yes, indeed. Now, that's a lot of villager needs, but it's too expensive for me, so I'm just not going to bother. You could buy other things if you want. I tend to buy these when I'm rich. But it'll be a while first before that happens. The copper knives I don't really need, and I want the coins now, so we can definitely work through that as we go. I'll keep one. Alright, with our blessing, let's see what we get for free loots in here. We're really hoping that we roll something nice, so that as we go in and try to liberate this region, that we have something really handy. I know one of my followers, Amaru, got lucky and found some armor in here, and that was a nice way to start things out. So before they went and did their liberations, they had some pretty nice armor. I'm hoping that we can get something decent. We'll go in and we find our chest. Sake, and that is adequate. That's our leader. We don't need to talk to her. But we definitely appreciate that she's here and that she doesn't want to attack us and that we're considered a friend, right? Or at least neutral. So we got a cool hat. Not bad. And then we'll just see what we can get. Oh, that's cool. I was hoping I could loot that for free. It'll tell you if you can open it and if there's anything in it. And now it looks like we're at the end of our looting extravaganza here. Alright, well, it's okay. We tried and we got what we can. Let's get out of here and see what else we can get. I discovered in a bad way that this water's too deep. Don't go in there. And you can drown in this game. Don't do it. Don't do it. It is also convenient to note that there is a large mine in here that you can take advantage of later. So it's not blocked anymore, which is super handy. We will not be able to mine those resources until we have the technology for it. And you can imagine the technology progression as you expect in different games. Copper, then to bronze, using tin and copper together, and then finally iron to wrap it all up. So yeah, as you expect with the advancement, it does work the same in this game. Alrighty y'all, we're a long ways into this, and it has been a long recording, and I think at this point I hope that you have gotten a lot out of this. We can fast travel back home if we don't feel like walking by pressing E. It only costs us 10 coins, and we just gained a lot of coin. I think we'll be alright. The next step that we're going to want to do is do our, we can do our quest line for Inari and drop off that egg in the shrine. But also, the key thing that we really want to do before the end of the season is we want to get to this part. So this is going to be the next thing that we need to do, which is get ourselves to the point where we can handle taking this place on. You'll notice that we count, if you look in the lower right, we've already defeated 3 looters out of 5. We still have to defeat the leader. And that's going to advance us forward after building the small bridge. The last quest line 2 is going to take you through helping out a kiddo and introducing yourself to 3 different major characters in the area, and it's going to allow us to progress forward. I highly recommend at this point that we drop some things off, and At this point, I'm going to do a part 2 of this video just because I don't want to have y'all watch too long of this. And in part 2, we are going to move forward and we are going to go after the bandit camp and we're going to get our unlocks, and then we're going to wrap up helping out in Sasogi so that we can have this done. Thanks for joining me for part 1 of this. I hope this is helpful. I'll try to condense this down in a best tips and tricks like quick video in the future. Thanks for your time, y'all. Take care.